Webster Tarpley reporting from Washington, D.C. Remember, go to the Russia Today website, and you'll find a 5-minute interview with me from earlier this week about the CIA MI6 backing for Jundullah, the terrorist secret army aiming for an independent Baluchistan under Salafi Sunni auspices, bad for the Iranian, Persian, Shiite government, bad for Pakistan, bad even for the tottering Karzai regime in Afghanistan. An independent Baluchistan carbs all of those. So go to Russia Today and look at that interview if you're interested. Also, remember the Fall of the Republic, the new Alex Jones Obama documentary, another landmark. This is part one of Fall of the Republic. I believe there's going to be a second installment at some point, but right now we have an excellent chance to see this Fall of the Republic. That's at InfoWars and Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Also, take a look at Tarpley.net. Tarpley.net, you're going to see the ways to order the essential reading, Obama, the Postmodern Coup, The Making of a Manchurian Candidate, Barack H. Obama, The Unauthorized Biography, and Surviving the Cataclysm, Your Guide to the Worst Financial Crisis in Human History. Take a look at Tarpley.net this week. We're to upgrade the site. The upgrade is imminent, I would say, in the next week to 10 days. We will be transforming that site, making it much more up to date, and including commentaries on ongoing world events from day to day. So Tarpley.net, and you can order all the books through Tarpley.net. Let's go back now to this speech by Birgitta Jónsdóttir in the Icelandic Parliament. Again, this is a landmark. This is a heroic and history-making speech where a little country of 330,000 people stands up to the ogres, the bullies, the British with 60 million people, the Dutch with 10 million people, or whatever they have, the European Commission with the Portuguese fascist Barroso at the head, and, of course, the International Monetary Fund of Dominique Strauss-Kahn, the would-be currency dictator of the world. So an answer comes from Reykjavik. Big countries are cowardly and dithering, as we hear, but the movement in the Icelandic Parliament speaks a clear language. So they say the country will be crushed under debt and interest if they attempt to pay the foreign debt. We've got to make decisions based on hope, justice, and the resurrection of pride, and assert your national sovereignty, in effect. So we can and should seek all possible ways to find common solutions, but Britain has declared war on our nation when they labeled us as terrorists. The British authorities have used economic terrorism against us by misusing the IMF and using our European Union membership application as leverage to extort from us what they want to get in the way of money in the IceSave affair. It is morally wrong to lay debts on the shoulders of the public, which it had nothing to do with in the first place. These are private banking debts that the British and the Dutch want to collect from the Icelandic government. Our government doesn't seem to realize that we are indeed in an economic war and that the nation has been attacked in such a way which makes a courteous response impossible. It is impossible to say without blinking that we should pay the debts of financiers who mortgaged the work of the nation undisturbed while the administration slept. The demands of Britain and Holland regarding IceSave have to be rejected on the basis of national well-being and security. If the government tries to honor the IceSave agreement and follow the IMF program, this would lead to mass emigration out of Iceland, damage our health care and education system, diminish the workforce, inhibit productive investments, and usher in a period of permanent national decline. Birgitta Jónsdóttir goes on, I object when our leaders claim that we the people are obliged to pay debts we never incurred. On what basis should every man, woman, and child in Iceland be forced to pay 20,000 euros each. That's 30,000 U.S. dollars. It's about half of what an average person might earn in a year if they're lucky, or more. I've heard that we have to pay the British and the Dutch because they are using their strong position to stop our loan from the IMF. I've heard members of Parliament say that they were the British and the Dutch were ruthless and rude to our visiting delegation last week in the European Parliament. And they said more than once that if we did not pay, we could not join the European Union. I don't know about you, says Birgitta Jones-Dottir, and she says, respected government and respected prime minister, but I think that the time has come to get out of this bind and to seek alternative solutions. So the action points. Birgitta Jones-Dottir, speaking for the movement, the faction in the Icelandic parliament, says, let's support the following ideas for action to bring us out of the economic calamity we are in. First, we should rid ourselves of the International Monetary Fund presence in our country using all available means. The European Union has also been hostile to Iceland in the IceSave debate, and hence it would be unadvisable to continue with our membership application at this time. Secondly, we should initiate measures to control speculative trading, first by placing a 1% Tobin tax on all financial transactions and profits, including derivatives, stocks, currency transactions, and commodity speculation. Additionally, we should halt the repossession of homes and businesses, stopping foreclosures in other words, and update our regulatory framework for banks and financial markets. So re-regulation, a Tobin tax, and in effect a stop on foreclosures. We are now heading into familiar territory where left and right are positioning themselves in the usual opposing trenches. The lament is now heard from a familiar corner about how the cutbacks are not large enough, and it's unfair to tax those more who can afford to pay more. So this is a economic program with teeth, effective and hard-hitting to get Iceland out of this crisis. She talks about the role of the faction called the movement, the fruit of this, the distillation of the process of mass strikes, continuous demonstrations in November, December, January, into the springtime of this year. She talks about the fact that the executive branch is treating the parliament unfairly, keeping secrets, not distributing documents in the proper way, and concludes with a quotation from Halldór Laxness, the beloved Icelandic writer, Nobel Prize for Literature, 1955. We'll be back in just a minute on World Crisis Radio.